today as we preview the 2024 Summer League Championship Tournament. St. Thomas advanced as the number 4 seed, so we will play on Sunday, 6 o'clock against the number 5 seed North Dakota State. So we're joined here today by head coach Johnny Tower, and then we'll have student athletes Raheem Anthony, Brooks Allen, and Parker Bjorklund. We're going to open up with Coach Tower here. He'll give an opening statement, and then each of you can lead into questions from there. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it very much. Excited for the Summit League tournament coming up this weekend and really excited about the season we've just had. Couldn't be more proud of our guys and really the entire athletic department, how in year 3 of this transition from Division III to Division I, I think not just the way they've competed on the court, but the way they conduct themselves, the way they treat other people in the community. We talk a lot about comprehensive excellence, and I think they embody that. And so happy to take any questions and very excited to be participating in the Summit League tournament this weekend.
Coach, is your approach at the tournament going to be any different now that you've experienced, what it's like to get to the arena, where everything is, the hotel, all that kind of stuff? Now that you're in second year, you'll be a little different?
I think, we went the first year when we were not eligible to play and got kind of an understanding of the format and the layout, but Josh Rodenbarker, our director of operations, would tell you I don't really know much of what we do at all. So he's kind of in charge of all those details, and he did a great job last year. And Sioux Falls does such an unbelievable job, and so does the Summit League. It's a first-class event. The attendance is unbelievable. I think the teams have really healthy rivalries, and so I think we feel good about that. And Sioux Falls is an easy, it's an easy trip for us relative to some of the other ones we take. So, I think we felt good last year about how we handled it.
What's the energy like in Sioux Falls?
It was unique to go the first year and watch. A bunch of our coaching staff and administrative staff were there, and the crowds they draw are right up there, if not at the top of mid-major basketball. Some of that's the geographical location, but some of it is, I think, the tournament and just what an unbelievable operation they run. So it's, last year we had the unique experience of playing Western Illinois in Game 1 and then Oral Roberts in Game 2, and the next game was South Dakota State, North Dakota State, I think. So there were crowds from both of those teams. So there were probably 10,000 people in the stands by the time our game was finishing. But it's a really exciting event, and it's the culmination of so much work. When you look at these guys, and practice, really kind of official practice starts in early October. So that's 5 months. That's a lot of time in the weight room, in the film room, on the practice court. But that doesn't take into account the workouts in September. And we were fortunate to take a foreign trip to Italy in August, and the summer workouts in June and July, all the way dating back to last April and May. And so these guys really year-round are honing their craft. And so to get this opportunity then at the end of a season, we really feel fortunate. I know our guys are brimming with excitement, but there's also an element of stay focused, and we know, sort of our preparation at hand until Sunday night and then be ready to go. But we have a mature group with a lot of veterans who I think handle these situations really well.
John, you mentioned the other night that the defense pointed back to January. Why do you think you got away from that, and how were you able to get it back?
Yeah, there's always ebbs and flows. I thought one of the catalysts or the game's kind of inflection points was at Western Michigan. That was our 8th game of the season, and that was a game where we just, I thought, came out with a different level of focus, intensity, and oftentimes defense, you can get too pumped up for defense where all you're worried about is guarding your man, and that's not necessarily good. In fact, I think most of the time when we've gone a little bit awry, it's been with really good intentions, but probably just worrying a little bit too much about my man and a little bit less about the 5 of us defending together. So some of that, again, is a reflection of our guys, I think, being really objective and open to coaching. When you're in film sessions, the old adage that the film doesn't lie, I think they see that and they take that in a really mature way. Some of it is the ebbs and flows of a season, right? There's times you get tired legs, and so you may be watching film saying, why weren't we there when we were a couple weeks ago? And sometimes there's a little bit of that when you think about the inches and how, small things make a big difference. And then I think some of it is just their trust. We use that word a lot, trust in one another, that everybody has a role on offense and usually on an assigned play. you know what your job is, and that can break off in a number of different ways. Well, on defense, in many ways, it's the same thing, depending on, where's the ball, who has the ball, who's guarding that player. The other four guys should have a pretty good idea of what they're supposed to do. So I don't know if there's one factor, but I mean, quite frankly, some of it was just watching film after South Dakota State and North Dakota State, those two games on the road, and saying, like, okay, is this who we were, back in December and January? And I think our guys really took that message to heart.
How well do you think the players mentally navigated that before?
I mean, our guys are great. 31 games, you're always going to have some ups and downs, and by that I don't necessarily mean outcome, just some games you're going to shoot it better, right? So I think as coaches, you always try to walk away from a game and look at, okay, if we had shot the ball, let's say we go 5 of 25 on threes, if we had shot the ball 10 of 25 on threes, that's 15 more points, plus probably some fewer transition opportunities for them. How do we feel about this game? And then there's other games, Portland State, I think we were 16 of 25 or something crazy like that, 15 of 25 on threes, and that game, I remember walking out thinking we had competed really well, but the reality is we aren't going to go 15 to 25. So our standard, kind of 9 or 10 to 25 that game, well, maybe we didn't play as well as we thought. And so I think our guys are really good at sort of effort and outcome separating those two. And if our effort's there, our togetherness is there, our competitive joy and spirit's there, then you trust the other stuff. And some nights more shots go in than others, but it's about, are you taking the right shots and are you doing the right things? And so that's a long-winded way of saying I think they handle it really, really well. And part of that is we're blessed to have, 3 grad students leading us who have been through an unbelievable amount in their careers. And so when they see good or bad things happen, those outcomes aren't going to shake them as much because they have a history of experiences that tells them trust the process, trust doing the right thing.
You just said a phrase that you mentioned quite a few times this season, competitive joy. Could you define that for me real quick?
Yeah, to me, that's a phrase that's important because I think we're, Dr. Eston, our VP of athletics, talks about comprehensive excellence, and it's classroom, on the court, or in competition, in the community, and your character. And, that's a way of living. For me, competitive joy is if somebody comes to watch our team, whether it's a student here, whether it's a kid who comes to our camps, whether it's parents and grandparents of the players, do they see our guys competing their hearts out? Like they're playing and they're leaving everything they have on the floor, but they're doing it with a smile on their face. Now, they may not be smiling when they're in a defensive stance, but you see moments of joy throughout that. And I think it's really important because competition so oftentimes gets this, I think, a misperception that you've got to kind of be angry or there's unhealthy competitors. And I think our guys understand that this is really important, but in the scheme of things in life, basketball isn't the most important thing, right? Health, families, faith, all of those things. And so I've just always felt competitive joy. Some of that probably stems back to my background in psychology and doing research on intrinsic motivation, that when you love what you're doing and you're passionate about it, it's not hard to work tirelessly. It's not hard to be unselfish. It's not hard to do a lot of things because you're doing what you feel is one of your callings or passions. And so to me, competitive joy, I can't tell you when we came up with it, but and I'm certain I stole it from somebody else. I'm not telling you it originated with me, but to me, it embodies sort of a bunch of different stuff that if you watch our team, they're tough, they're together, but they're also having fun.
What kind of challenges North Dakota State presents?
North Dakota State, I mean, they're a perennial power in the conference. I think they've been to the conference final 5 straight years, something like that, and Dave does a really, really good job. You look at the history of their program, and when they made the jump from Division II to Division I, they've had some outstanding teams. I think they're really elite shooting. You look at their three-point percentage, and most of the time on the court, they have 4 guys who are really prolific three-point shooters. Andrew Morgan is one of the toughest, most physical posts you're going to find anywhere. And so between he and Feddersen, they've got really good size and sort of the traditional North Dakota State post. But I think they probably have better shooters than they have had. And so it makes it difficult because I go back to the question 5 minutes ago. You're going to be guarding a guy who's capable of scoring 20 or 25 points, and yet we've got to defend them collectively. And the other thing that I think they're really good at, their culture is predicated on a lot of toughness and physicality. So you watch them defend, you watch them rebound. And we've had 2 really competitive games with them, both kind of interesting. You could juxtapose kind of the outcome with how the game went. They got up early big here, and we ended up winning by 13, and then we got up early big there, and they ended up winning by 14. So it should be a really competitive game. We got a lot of respect for their program.
Top to bottom of the Summit League, is there really a team that you want to match up with, or is it just competitive with parity top to bottom?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of parity, and I also think, the longer you coach, the more you realize wanting or hoping for things just is not necessarily, you don't have any control over them. So thinking about let's hope this team wins, or that at the end of the day, you play the team who's in front of you. I think we've shown we can play with anybody in the conference this year, and I think our guys, if you go out of conference playing at Marquette and playing at Cal, our guys are very aware we can play with anybody in the country, but they're also very aware that if we're not ready to play or we don't take care of the ball, we don't defend, we can lose to anybody. And there's a certain humility, a confidence, but also a humility that you try to balance, knowing that it feels good knowing we can compete with anybody, but we also have, I think some of that's their experience, and then some of that is just the games we played this year. You have to bring it every night. And the Summit League is a really fun league, maybe more fun for fans and coaches this year, because truly you look at the outcomes and the difference between the 9 teams on any given night is really negligible.
You mentioned Cal and Marquette earlier this season. Has playing these bigger schools and Power 6 opponents, have you felt more attention and eyes on the program?
I think those games, when you look at if a game's nationally broadcast, right? So whether it's Marquette this year, whether it was Creighton last year, and playing a team, ranked in the top 10 like both of them were, I think that's it's great for our school, it's great for our athletic department, and it's really a fun experience for our guys. At the same time, we play 31 games every regular season, and it's imperative that each one of them you look at the same way and you go into it with the same kind of preparation. Is it different playing in front of 18,000 fans at Creighton than some of the other games we played? Sure, I'd be lying if I said no. But I actually think when you look at our guys, 94 feet by 50 feet, the basketball court, at the end of the day, that's where the focus has to be. If the focus is on the band the other night or on the dance team or on the student section, then we're not doing our job. Our job is to play and compete and be totally focused for those 2 hours. And then afterwards you can go back and look back. I was talking with Phil after the game the other night, and the band was unbelievable, and I noticed it. And then I actually asked him, I said, where were they? And that might be a cluelessness on my part, but truly, I didn't know where they were, because in those moments, whether you're playing at Marquette or anywhere else, it's the chance to go play basketball with, a lot of your closest friends. That's as special as it gets.
All right, we'll just go ahead, write your questions whenever you're ready.
Raheem, have these guys prepared you at all for what it's like to play in the Summit League tournament?
Yeah, they give me a glimpse of like what it was like last year with their Western Illinois win and their loss to Oral Roberts, and talked about how competitive it is and no foul calls being made. So we have to kind of play our best brand of basketball down there.
Parker, with no fouls being called and North Dakota State being such a physical team, how do you mentally prepare for maybe getting bigger on a little bit in a game like that?
Yeah, they're a physical team. They got a lot of threats. The biggest thing is just being tough and, not getting caught up in, the officiating. Just playing strong every single possession, and that's all you can really ask for.
Brooks, you really going to soak this one in this year?
Yeah, I felt like I soaked it in last year too. Being a senior, and each year your team's never the same as the year before. So last year's team, I was obviously soaking it up. Last time playing with Riley ended up being the last time playing with Rhodey. So last time playing with Will, and now it's going to be my last time playing organized basketball, something that I've been playing for my whole life. So I'm going to really try to enjoy it. Hopefully we can come away with 3 good wins. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Brooks and Parker, what do you think you learned from playing in this tournament last year that can help you prepare for going back this time?
I would say the biggest thing is just realizing how important every single possession is. You look at the amount of games we've had this year, and the outcome can come down to just 1 or 2 possessions. So just staying locked in on every single possession, offensively and defensively, and just trying to come out with the win.
I'd say a big part at this point in the year, the league is so well scouted, well coached. Everybody kind of knows everybody. You've played every team twice. I'd say it kind of comes down to, who's the more connected team. I feel like we have that here also. Got to make some shots. So we're going to get in the gym this week, make sure it's feeling good, and we're going to let it fly in Sioux Falls this weekend.
Yeah, what are some of those things that make you such a connected team?
I would say one thing, we have a lot of old guys on the team. The other night, senior night, we had 7 players and a student manager who's a senior. So we've been around each other a lot. We're great friends off the court. We mentioned last press conference that we had a trip to Italy, which just made us even closer. Say a credit is to our coaching staff too. They allow us to be ourselves, and when you're able to do that, you just build genuine connections, and that really helps us both on the court and off the court.
Raheem, you mentioned the other night about the trip to Italy and how it helped you acclimate with everybody else. Did it take you a little while after that before you felt comfortable enough to be able to maybe take a leadership position and say something to younger players about, your positioning that should be a little better here, or those kind of things?
Yeah, it definitely took me a while. Me being a new transfer, I didn't know when the right time to strike was, especially being a veteran. But yeah, it didn't take too long though to get on Kendall about rebounding, Carter about having to post up, things like that. And our guys they're willing to learn. So yeah.
How receptive were you to get that kind of feedback from the team?
It was fun not having to hear from people. Back in D3, I kind of was just the guy that always made the calls, and nobody would ever, not necessarily challenge me, but necessarily say anything to me because they wanted me to play well. But yeah, it's good hearing feedback from other teammates.
Yeah, Raheem, what was the transition like from being the guy with your ball in your hands all the time to being more involved in this machine that they got going here?
Transition, it wasn't too hard, especially with this being St. Thomas. I feel like at other schools it would have been way different. The team loves sharing the ball, and I love sharing the ball as well. And yeah, it was just that easy.
What was it about St. Thomas that made you decide to come here?
Their connectivity. When we first played them when I was a freshman, you could just see how connected as a program they were. The coaching staff checking up on me every day in the transfer portal. And when I took my visit, the guys showing me around and just somewhere I'd wanted to be.
Yeah, Brooks, when you found out Raheem was thinking about coming to school here, were you like, that guy from back then, he's coming to play with us?
Yeah, obviously I remember how good he was when we played them, when I watched them play when we were back in D3, but it also been a few years, so it's kind of forget like what they've been up to. So, but first practice he was here, I knew he was legit. So.
For you guys, during like J term, the fans and everything have just been solid here. Setting again top 10 attendance marks. J term, the students are gone. Students come back, just add another level. What's your guys' message to the fans and the students ahead of Sunday's game?
I would just say we're super appreciative for them. When they come in, it brings a ton of energy for us, and we really feed off of that. With these last 2 home games, they came in giving us a ton of energy. We got 2 home wins. That's great momentum going into the tournament, and that presence really does help us in terms of just like momentum, feel, and everything. So we're going to use that momentum going into the tournament, and hopefully come out winning it.
Yeah, during J term, there's not a whole lot of foot traffic on campus. Whether that was family, friends, or just people in the community, they kind of really held that down while the students were away in January. And ever since the students were back, I think we're 24-4, is that correct, in our last 2 years at home. So just tremendously grateful for our fans, really excited for what we're building, and I'm glad to be a part of it, and I'm glad that Tommie fans have our back.
Yeah. J-term, it's great to see faces, whether it's family, friends, players. I had a couple of my old teammates come see me. So, yeah, and a credit to our marketing team for kind of getting that out there, the games that we've had in the past couple of weeks.
What are you hoping for fan turnout at the tournament?
I mean, I'm kind of just assuming there'll be a lot of family and maybe close friends. Being a first game on a Sunday night and then the semifinals and finals being Monday, Tuesday, it's kind of a lot to ask for students to get out there. But if any students are willing, maybe the professors can let them out of class or something. We'd love to have them there.
Maybe you should write permission slips for these kids.
Maybe we should. It's a good idea.
Any last questions?
Yeah, Raheem, you've, the way you've transitioned here and played so well, a lot of us who watch a lot of Division III have wondered for years. We really haven't seen the very top kids in Division III. It doesn't seem like you're that big a step to come and play in Division I. Now that you've been in Division I for a year and you think back to the MIAC, can you think of maybe any other MIAC players currently playing that could come in and play Division I as a graduate?
Definitely in my time, in the past 2 years especially, when I was a junior, Joe Palmer from Augsburg transferred to Colorado State. I come along, I transfer here to St. Thomas. They got some kid at Hamlin that's pretty good. McAllister, just all across the board. There's always one or two that could potentially play Division I, Division II basketball. And at the end of the day, they're just basketball players, so they just know how to play the game the right way.
Yeah, is there something about St. Thomas that attracts people taking unconventional routes to Division I basketball? Parker?
I mean, I don't know, to be honest. I mean, we definitely got pretty lucky that, D3 went to D1, so we got kind of lucky on that end. But, I mean, all three of us, including, all other guys, we work hard every day, and that's, where the results come from is just putting in the effort every single day. I mean, obviously we got lucky, we got this transition, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to hard work.
I think we're also super grateful for our coaches just for being so open-minded. I think a lot of other Division I coaches would see a guy like Parker who played intramurals asking if he could try out for the team, and they'd probably be like, I don't know, probably not. Or a guy like me who didn't play Division III, they might come in and be like, we need to do a complete rebuild for this transition. So credit to Coach Tower, Coach Maker, Cam, Josh, Dennis, Kenny, just for being open-minded and believing in us.
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely some, I don't know the word, but some aura around that Division III to Division I transfer. And I know for a fact that there's some kids that I've probably influenced in doing so, and they probably think that they could do the same thing, and they probably could. But, yeah, it's just great that St. Thomas got to make that transition, and I'm glad to be a part of it.
Thanks, guys.
Hold on.
All right, go ahead now.
I'd like to ask about how's it feel to, I noticed over the last 2 years that when you make runs, a lot of those runs involve defensive rebounding and transitioning to a break. And I just wanted to ask you how some of you felt about being in that situation and how you're trying to make that really work for you.
Yeah, I would say that's one of our biggest keys going into pretty much any game is our defense, because usually our good defense leads to good offense. Obviously, as you said, getting on the boards, moving in transition, it usually takes care of offense. So that's pretty much our main focus, getting stops on D, moving the ball, and that gets our pace going, that gets our energy going, and it all just kind of ends up meshing really well.
Yeah, you mentioned defensive rebounding. Obviously, when we have a good defensive possession, we need to finish it on the glass. So usually I just try to clear my guy out of there, and then we can watch Raheem bring it down the court, throw an alley-oop to Kendall or Parker, one of the more athletic guys.
Yeah, getting stops. We have ahead of the snake and Drake Dobbs and Ryan Dufault who kind of set the tone for us defensively, and that helps us get out. And we have a great rebounding mentor in Dennis Harrington now, talks about positioning on rebounding. And that kind of gives us an advantage when teams try to crash, and we always end up with like either 3-on-2 transition, 4-on-5s, always an advantage.
Brooks, you mentioned kind of clearing your guy out while Raheem runs the transition. Do you take pride in finding those things that aren't necessarily counted by stats that you can still do to help the team?
I don't know if I necessarily take pride in it would be the word. I know that's my responsibility. I'm not like obviously the strongest or most athletic person, so if I want to be out on the court, I need to do those things. And if the team wants to win, everybody needs to do those things. So I kind of just do it out of necessity more than anything.